everyone. My name is Kevin Nevels, and I am proud to serve as the chairman of the board of the Coppell Chamber of Commerce. And I am pleased to join you today with our current Place 3 City Council, Wes Mays, who is seeking re-election. Wes, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Kevin. Thank you very much for that intro, and thanks for the opportunity to talk today.
Well, we're really excited about our interview series that we're doing with all of our candidates. And I'd like to go ahead and jump right into our first question for you today, sir. If you would tell us, why are you running for city council, and why should the voters choose you over your opponent?
So I've served on the city council for 8 years. And at the beginning of the year, there were still a few items that I wanted to see completed and some that I wanted to see started. Our 2040 plan was just being rolled out, and I was and I am very proud of the citizen involvement that went into that entire process. I wanted to see a successful launch of the 2 committees that resulted from that 2040 plan, the future-oriented approach to residential development, or FORD for short, and also the Smart Cities Board. I think that those 2 committees are going to provide valuable input for the future of Coppell. Also at the beginning of the year, and somewhat unexpected, we had the Comptroller of Public Accounts publish State Rule 3.334. This rule impacted the city's abilities to collect sales tax on internet or mail order purchases. Round Rock, which was home of Dell, and San Marcos, which was home of Best Buy, were also severely impacted, as was Coppell. I wanted to ensure that we had the experience and history to be able to plan for this new future of revenue reductions. Then, very unexpectedly, COVID-19 hit. My main incentive at this point is to ensure a safe and successful transition back to a normal, whatever that may be, for the future. We've done a really wonderful job of cutting the budget by 13% to account for the loss of revenue due to COVID-19. And these budget reductions were done while still allowing our citizens to enjoy the very high level of service for public safety, including police, fire, and EMS. In addition, we'll also be able to continue our maintenance of public works for our streets, trails, and infrastructures. I just want to make sure that we have the experience and the knowledge to continue forward and see those through.
Excellent. Next question I have for you, sir, is, so if you are reelected, what are 2 or 3 of the most important actions that you would take, and how would you advance those actions and fund them?
So the city has a plan for the future. Everything that's on my list of things to be built is already on the plan. Specifically and most visible would be the renovation of Beltline. That's going to be a huge project for the city. The project was originally estimated to cost about $24 million, but due to the reduced traffic and the revised estimate is now somewhere in the $16 to $18 million range. 2 years ago, we began setting aside funding for that Beltline project, and we've continued to add to that savings account each year. By having these monies set aside, we will be able to reduce the actual cost of the project by about $6 million. This means that we'll only be out of pocket by about $12 million when we actually start the Beltline construction. That's 50% less than what we had originally budgeted and planned for. I think that's just a tremendous advancement in our infrastructure. The other items that are important to myself and our citizens include our trail systems. We currently have 23.2 miles of trails in Coppell, and since 2015, that's 5 years ago, we've added 9 new completely separate trail projects, including the Campion Trail Connector. We currently have 3 trail projects currently going on, and which will add another 3 miles to our system. And I'm also very interested in seeing the east-west trail that's part of the Dart Rail Silver Line come into fruition. But I'm most interested in observing how we're going to go forward into the future as we transition into a post-State Rule 3.334. For example, if we do end up losing that considerable amount of sales tax revenue in the future, we may leverage our Ford board to come up with alternative land use for our warehouse spaces on the west side. Some of those are beginning to reach their end of life, and we may be able to repurpose the buildings, or at least reuse the land for ways that we haven't been able to consider in the past. I can't imagine what would happen, but we might see a community or neighborhoods develop to meet the needs of select groups, maybe like St. Joseph's Village on the east side, but on steroids. It can be an exciting time, and I'm looking forward to that future.
Excellent. Next question for you, sir, is where do you think the development or redevelopment emphasis needs to be in Coppell? Do you think that we need to concentrate on residential or commercial? And how do you think that Coppell has performed in this area in the past?
Oh, that's the age-old question. And you know, we've spent a lot of time talking about that and thinking about it. And the bottom line is development needs to be in both areas or the system fails. You can't have all industrial, you can't have all residential. Basically, you can't have one without the other. 20 years ago, the city was 80% residential and 20% commercial, and our property taxes in the early 90s began to increase. This past year, we were at 58% residential and 42% commercial. And over the past years, we've experienced some of the lowest tax rates since Coppell began to grow. This transition from residential to commercial is a testament to the economic development planning that we've engaged in over the last 20 years. Our citizens can thank many of the amenities that we all enjoy to the sales taxes that have been provided by those businesses. Going forward, we're going to have to be aware of the impact of State Rule 3.334 and the changing trends in residential development. That's one of the reasons I'm so excited about the Ford Board. I think that that group will lead us into the future with our residential plans.
Excellent. Next question I have for you, sir, is do you think that Coppell delivers services in the most cost-effective manner? And we are asking if you could be specific about improvements that you would like to advocate.
So the citizens of Coppell expect a very high levels of service at all levels. That's become very clear through our citizen summits, through the 2040 plan, just talking to our neighbors and people we meet in the grocery store. And to deliver that level of service requires a very high functioning level of employee at all levels throughout the city. I think that the recent reductions in city services as a result of COVID are an indication of the expectations of our citizens. While everyone understands why the facilities have shut down or have been operating under reduced conditions, I don't think that anyone is happy about it. Our citizens require those extended operating hours, the after work hours, and on weekends. I think that one good thing that's going to come out of COVID-19 is a reassessment of some of our operating assumptions and adjustment to some of our city services. We've already begun doing that, and I expect to see that those will begin to emerge gradually as we continue to reopen the city offices.
Excellent. Last official question I have for you is, if you wouldn't mind, how would you rate the transparency of the decision-making in Coppell?
We are the most transparent organization that I've ever seen, ever worked for, or ever worked with. I know of only one way to make the decision-making process more transparent, and that's to be physically present at every meeting, at every discussion, at every organization. Every meeting we have is open to the public. Every work session, every planning session, every budget review, every retreat is open. In fact, anytime we meet as a council, as a committee, as a board, or as a commission, the meeting is open to the public. Every piece of information from any of those meetings is also publicly available. In addition, we're very careful to make sure that recordings of these meetings are also available on the city's website in perpetuity. Most of these discussions over transparency is due to a lack of participation. It takes effort to become informed.
Absolutely. Well, all right, last thing I want to ask you is, I think a lot of people like to know how our leaders are involved in the community. So obviously you have been serving on city council, but how else have you been involved in the community, or is your ambition only just to be, on the council and just kind of political, I guess?
So the answer to the first part is no, I was not political. I've been active as a volunteer for most of my adult life. I've served as a volunteer in the Boy Scouts of America since 1988, and I've been serving in that role ever since. I've helped coach Little League. I've been an active band booster parent. I've served on the Coppell Solar Car Advisory Group. I've served as president of 2 separate HOAs here in Coppell. I'm currently the chairman of the Industrial Advisory Board at the University of North Texas. I've served on the First United Methodist Church in a number of committees, including the staff's Parish Relations Committee, the Finance Committee, the Fix-It Committee, and I'm currently very active with the United Methodist Men. I'm also a member of the church's wind ensemble. I also play in the Coppell Community Orchestra, and I am also a member of the Coppell Lions Club. I grew up in a service-oriented household. My mother and father both did the same thing, and I hope that our children have learned to grow up to do the same.
Well, Wes, I want to thank you so much for taking some time to answer the questions. I know that the voters of Coppell really appreciate getting a chance to know you a little bit better, and no, we wish you the best of luck in the upcoming election.
Well, thank you much, and thanks to the Chamber for hosting this, and let's wish for good luck for the future and for 2021.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. You have a great day, sir.
Thank you, Kevin.